Princess Lyra of the Astrian Empire stood before the grand mirror in her chambers, her iridescent skin shimmering with barely contained anger. The news her father had just delivered made her blood boil. An alliance with Earth? Through marriage? Have you lost your mind, father? High King Theron's reflection appeared behind her, his crystalline crown catching the light of their binary stars. The humans have proven themselves formidable allies to other systems. Their military might. Their brutality, you mean, Lyra cut in, turning to face him. Her silver eyes flashed dangerously. They're barely a century into space travel, and already they've involved themselves in 3 interstellar conflicts. Which they helped resolve, Theron countered patiently. Their intervention saved the Proxima colonies from extinction. By destroying half the aggressor's fleet. They're savages with advanced weapons, nothing more. The door chimed, and Royal Advisor Venna entered with a bow. Your Majesties, the Earth delegation has arrived. Lyra's hands clenched into fists, her natural bioluminescence flaring with emotion. I won't do it, father. I won't marry some primitive human warrior just to secure their protection. You'll at least meet him. Theron's voice carried the weight of royal command. Commander Nathan Drake has an impressive record of diplomatic success. Diplomatic success? Lyra laughed bitterly. Is that what they call it when you force peace through superior firepower? In the grand reception hall, Commander Nathan Drake stood at perfect attention, years of military discipline evident in his bearing. His dark uniform, adorned with Earth's interstellar fleet insignia, contrasted sharply with the flowing, crystalline architecture of the Astrian palace. Ambassador Chen leaned close to whisper, remember, Commander, this alliance is crucial. The Astrian Empire's crystalline technology could revolutionize our deep space capabilities. Assuming their princess doesn't decide to throw us out airlock first, Nathan muttered, having read the intelligence reports on Princess Lyra's views regarding humans. The massive doors swung open, and Nathan's breath caught. Princess Lyra entered alongside her father, and despite his preparedness, the sight of her struck him silent. Her skin seemed to capture and reflect light like living crystal, her movements fluid and graceful in a way that reminded him they weren't simply dealing with humanoids painted a different color, the Astrians were truly alien. Commander Drake, King Theron's translator, rendered his musical language into English. Welcome to New Crystallis. Nathan bowed precisely, careful to maintain the exact degree of inclination protocol demanded. Your Majesty, Your Highness. Earth is honored by your reception. Lyra's silver eyes fixed on him with undisguised disdain. Tell me, Commander, how many systems have you pacified in your career? Lyra, her father warned, but Nathan raised a hand. None, Your Highness. I specialize in preventing conflicts before they require pacification. My last 3 assignments involved mediating trade disputes and establishing humanitarian aid corridors. How disappointing. No glorious battles to boast of. Glory in battle is largely a fiction, Your Highness. I prefer the quiet victories of words over the loud failures of weapons. Something flickered in those silver eyes, surprise, perhaps? Before the mask of contempt returned. Pretty words from a species that still solve their own planetary disputes with nuclear weapons within living memory. Lyra. King Theron's voice cracked like breaking crystal. You will show our guests proper respect. Of course, father. Her smile could have frozen plasma. I apologize if I've offended your delicate human sensibilities, Commander. Nathan met her gaze steadily. Not at all, Your Highness. Healthy skepticism is the foundation of lasting trust. I look forward to earning yours. Before she could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the palace. Guards rushed in, their crystalline armor glowing with emergency patterns. Your Majesty, the captain of the guard bowed hastily. We've detected multiple unauthorized ships dropping out of hyperspace. They're not responding to hails. Nathan's training kicked in instantly. Ambassador, alert the Earth vessel. Request immediate support. He turned to the king. Your Majesty, we should move you and the princess to a secure location. We have our own security protocols, human, Lyra snapped, but her father was already nodding. Captain, initiate palace lockdown. Commander Drake, your assistance is appreciated. As they hurried from the reception hall, Nathan noticed Lyra's surprised look at her father's easy acceptance of human help. Before she could object further, the first explosions rocked the palace foundations. The diplomatic disaster Nathan had hoped to prevent was about to become a literal one. But as he glanced at the proudly defiant princess, he realized winning her trust might prove an even greater challenge than whatever threat was currently bearing down on them. The universe, it seemed, had a sense of irony. He'd come to prevent a war through marriage, and now he might have to prevent a marriage through war. The palace trembled under another barrage of explosions. Nathan sprinted alongside the royal family through crystalline corridors, his combat training assessing every shadow, every corner. The Astrian Guard's formation was impressive but left gaps a skilled assassin could exploit. Your Majesty, Nathan called out, these attacks are too coordinated. Someone had to disable your planetary shields. Impossible, Lyra declared, though uncertainty tinged her voice. The shield control codes are known only to the royal family and, she stopped abruptly, her silver eyes widening. And the High Council, King Theron finished grimly. Captain, secure the shield generator room. Before the guard captain could respond, a section of ceiling collapsed ahead of them. Nathan reacted instinctively, tackling Lyra clear of the falling debris. They rolled together, his body shielding hers as crystalline shards rained around them. Unhand me, human. Lyra shoved against his chest, her skin pulsing with agitation. As soon as you promise to dodge falling ceilings on your own, Your Highness. Nathan helped her up, scanning for threats. The debris had separated them from the others. Father. Lyra called out, her composed facade cracking with worry. We're all right. King Theron's voice came through the barrier. The passage is blocked. Take the emergency routes to the secure chamber. We'll meet you there. I know the way, Lyra said, already moving. Nathan fell in beside her, drawing his sidearm. I don't need an escort. Respectfully, Your Highness, you just became the most valuable target in the palace. Where you go, I go. She shot him a venomous look but didn't argue further. They hurried through lesser-used corridors, Lyra's natural bioluminescence providing just enough light to navigate by. Nathan had to admit, her composure under pressure was impressive. Why are you really here, Commander? She asked suddenly, her voice low. Earth has never shown interest in our sector before. The official reason or the real one? Both, if they differ. Officially, Earth seeks a military alliance to counter Proximan expansion. The marriage proposal is meant to cement that alliance. He checked around a corner before continuing. The real reason? We've detected unusual energy signatures from your sector. Something that could be a weapon. Lyra stopped short. The resonance. The what? A distant explosion interrupted her answer. They pressed against a wall as running footsteps approached. Nathan raised his weapon, but Lyra placed a restraining hand on his arm. Her skin dimmed to near darkness. 3 figures rushed past their position, their armor marking them as palace guards. But something was off about their movement. Those aren't real guards, Lyra whispered. Their light patterns are wrong. How many ways into the secure chamber? 3. The main entrance, the service tunnel, and, her eyes narrowed. You think they're heading there now? Nathan nodded. Your father will use the main entrance. Those infiltrators probably know that. There's a maintenance shaft that connects to the service tunnel. We could, she hesitated, studying him. Why should I trust you? Because right now, Your Highness, I'm the only one trying to keep you alive who hasn't already betrayed you. Their eyes met in the dim light. Nathan could almost see her weighing years of anti-human prejudice against the immediate threat to her family. Finally, she nodded. This way. And Commander? If you betray this trust, there won't be enough left of you to fill a stasis pod. The maintenance shaft was a tight fit, especially for Nathan in his formal uniform. They crawled through the narrow space, every sound amplified in the enclosed area. Lyra led the way, her natural light dimmed to a bare minimum. The resonance, she said suddenly, is not a weapon. It's something else. Something we discovered in the crystalline matrices of our world. We've barely begun to understand its potential. But it could be weaponized. Anything can be weaponized in the wrong hands. Your species proved that with atomic power. Fair point. But we also proved it could be used for peace. She glanced back at him, silver eyes unreadable. Is that what Earth wants? Peace? Earth wants survival. The galaxy's getting smaller, Your Highness. We need allies, not conquests. And I'm to be the price of that alliance? Before Nathan could respond, voices echoed through the shaft. They froze, listening. The princess must not reach the secure chamber, a voice said. Lord Varek's orders. Lyra's skin flared with shock before she could control it. Nathan quickly pressed her against the shaft wall, using his body to block the light. Varek, he breathed against her ear. High Council. She nodded, trembling slightly. My father's most trusted advisor. He's been like an uncle to me. The betrayal in her voice was raw, personal. Nathan knew that feeling, the moment you realize someone you trusted has engineered your destruction. He'd lived it during the Mars colony crisis. Your Highness, he whispered, still shielding her light from view, I know you have no reason to trust humans, or me. But right now, we need each other. Your father, your people, they're all at risk. Let me help you. She was silent for a long moment. Nathan could feel her heart racing where their bodies pressed together, could smell the strange, sweet scent of her skin. Finally, she spoke. If we survive this, Commander, I may have to reconsider my opinion of humans. She paused. Some humans, at least. I'll take that as a royal compliment. Don't push your luck. But there was a hint of amusement in her voice. Now, shall we go save my kingdom? Lead the way, Your Highness. I've got your back. Together, they crept toward the voices ahead, an unlikely alliance forged in crisis. The fate of two civilizations might hang on whether a proud alien princess and a human commander could learn to trust each other in time. The secure chamber's service tunnel emerged into darkness. Nathan moved first, weapon ready, while Lyra's dimmed bioluminescence provided just enough light to navigate by. The chamber ahead remained silent, too silent. Wait, Lyra whispered, catching his arm. Her skin rippled with patterns Nathan was beginning to recognize as anxiety. Something's wrong. There should be guards posted. Nathan nodded, his combat instinct screaming. Your father? The main entrance is sealed. She pressed her hand against a crystalline panel, which pulsed in response. But someone's inside. Multiple life signs. Friendlies? I can't tell. The sensors are being blocked somehow. Her fingers danced across the crystal surface. That shouldn't be possible. This technology is purely Astrian. Unless someone gave them help. Nathan checked his weapon charge. We need a plan. I have one. Lyra's silver eyes gleamed. You're not going to like it. Before he could respond, she stepped into the open doorway, her skin flaring to brilliant radiance. Nathan cursed under his breath, moving to cover her. Lord Varek, she called out. I know you're in there. The chamber lights activated, revealing the massive room. Lord Varek stood by the central console, his crystalline staff pulsing with unusual energy. Royal guards, real ones this time, lay unconscious or dead around the room. King Theron knelt at Varek's feet, blood trickling from his temple. Ah, our wayward princess. Varek's smile didn't reach his eyes. And her human pet. How disappointing. I'd hoped the infiltrators would find you first. Why? Lyra's voice cracked. You were family to us. Family? Varek spat. I was your keeper. Do you know how long I've waited, watching your father squander our greatest discovery? The resonance could make us gods. It would make us monsters, King Theron said weakly. The resonance isn't meant to be controlled. Everything can be controlled, old friend. Even you. Varek's staff pulsed, and the king cried out in pain. Nathan analyzed the situation with tactical precision. 3 hidden shooters in the upper gallery, based on the light refraction. 2 more flanking Varek. The staff was the key, it was somehow interfacing with the Astrian's crystalline biology. Your Highness, he murmured, that staff. Is he using the resonance? A crude application of it, she replied just as quietly. He's forcing harmonic vibrations through our crystalline matrices. It's painful. Can you resist it? I'm trying. But he's had years to perfect this weapon. She swayed slightly. I can feel it pulling at me. Nathan steadied her with a hand at her waist, noting how she didn't pull away. I need a distraction. Think you can manage one last light show? A ghost of a smile touched her lips. Watch and learn, human. Lyra stepped forward, her spine straight with royal dignity. Lord Varek, if it's control you want, then take it. Take your rightful place as ruler of the Astrian Empire. Her skin began to pulse with complex patterns. Varek's eyes narrowed. What are you doing? Submitting to the inevitable. Isn't that what you want? The patterns grew more intense, rippling outward. Other crystalline surfaces in the room began to resonate in response. Nathan recognized his cue. As Varek focused on Lyra, Nathan fired 3 precise shots at the upper gallery. The hidden shooters fell before they could react. The harmonics from Lyra's display had interfered with their camouflage technology. Chaos erupted. Varek's staff flared with power, but Lyra was ready. She matched its frequency, creating a discordant resonance that made every crystalline surface in the chamber vibrate. Nathan rolled behind a column, picking off Varek's remaining guards with surgical precision. Impossible. Varek staggered as the competing harmonics grew stronger. How are you resisting? Because she's not alone, Nathan said, emerging from cover. And she's stronger than you ever gave her credit for. Lyra's power reached a crescendo, shattering Varek's staff. The backlash threw him against the central console, unconscious. In the sudden silence, Lyra swayed on her feet. Nathan caught her before she could fall. I've got you, Your Highness. Lyra, she murmured against his chest. After saving my kingdom, I think you can use my name. King Theron struggled to his feet, supported by the few conscious guards. The palace? Still under attack, Nathan reported. But Earth reinforcements should be arriving any minute. We need to get you both to safety. No. Lyra straightened, though she kept a hand on Nathan's arm for support. My people are under attack. They need to see their leaders standing strong. Lyra. I'm not asking permission, Commander. Her silver eyes met his. Are you with me? Nathan studied her face, proud, determined, and more beautiful than any human woman he'd ever seen. He thought about duty, about alliances, about bridges between stars. Always, you're high, Lyra. She smiled, and it transformed her entire being. Good. Because we still have a palace to retake, a coup to crush, and... She glanced at her father. A diplomatic arrangement to discuss. King Theron looked between them, noting how they stood together, how they anticipated each other's movements. Perhaps some arrangements make themselves, he said softly. Another explosion rocked the palace. Nathan checked his weapon charge. Shall we save your kingdom first, then worry about diplomacy? A human suggesting we postpone diplomatic discussion? Lyra's skin rippled with amusement. Will wonders never cease? Together they moved toward the chamber doors, ready to face whatever waited beyond. Two people from different worlds, different species, who had found something unexpected in each other: trust. The battle for the palace, and perhaps the future of both their civilizations, was about to begin. But somehow, standing together, the odds didn't seem so impossible anymore. The palace's grand hallways had become a battlefield. Nathan and Lyra moved in perfect synchronization, covering each other as they advanced. Behind them, King Theron and his loyal guards secured their retreat path. The sounds of combat echoed from multiple directions. Earth forces have landed, Nathan reported, checking his tactical display. They're engaging the enemy ships in orbit. And my people? Lyra's skin pulsed with concern as she interfaced with a wall terminal. The civilian sectors? Protected. Your defense grid is holding there. He paused, studying her profile. You're worried about something else. She shot him a quick glance. The resonance chamber. If Varek was willing to corrupt its power on a small scale with that staff, he'll have bigger plans, Nathan finished. Where is this chamber? Below the palace. But Nathan, she caught herself, seeming surprised at using his first name. The resonance is dangerous. Unpredictable. No human has ever been trusted with its existence. He gave her a knowing look. That seems to be changing. Before she could respond, her father caught up to them. Lyra's right, Commander. The resonance is beyond anything your people have encountered. It's not just energy or technology, it's alive, in its own way. All the more reason to protect it. Nathan checked his weapon charge. Your Majesty, get to the command center. Coordinate with Earth forces. We'll secure the chamber. The king studied them both for a long moment. Together? Together, Lyra confirmed, her silver eyes meeting Nathan's. Something unspoken passed between them. They moved through the palace's lower levels, encountering pockets of resistance. Nathan marveled at how naturally they worked as a team, his tactical expertise blending seamlessly with her innate understanding of Astrian technology. They communicated almost without words, anticipating each other's moves. The chamber entrance is ahead, Lyra whispered as they reached a massive crystalline door. But something's wrong. The harmonic patterns are distorted. Nathan's tactical display flickered with interference. They're already inside? Worse. Her skin rippled with alarm patterns. They're trying to wake it up. The door exploded outward in a shower of crystalline shards. Nathan pulled Lyra behind a pillar as waves of energy pulsed from the chamber. The air itself seemed to vibrate with discordant frequencies. Magnificent, isn't it? Varek's voice boomed from within. He stood at the chamber's center, surrounded by swirling energy patterns. The resonance itself manifested as a living lattice of light, responding to his commands. The power of creation itself, and your father wanted to keep it sleeping. Because he understood its true nature, Lyra called back. The resonance isn't a weapon, Varek. It's the heartbeat of our world. A heart can be made to beat faster. Varek's eyes glowed with maniacal intensity. Imagine it, princess, with this power, we could reshape reality itself. No more bowing to lesser species, no more diplomatic compromises. Nathan felt Lyra tense beside him. You're talking about genocide. I'm talking about evolution. Why should we pretend humans are our equals when we could transcend existence itself? Varek manipulated the energy patterns, creating a devastating harmony. Join me, Lyra. Help me wake the resonance fully. It's your birthright. Nathan turned to her, seeing the conflict in her eyes. Lyra. I won't let him destroy everything, she whispered. Then, to his surprise, she took his hand. Do you trust me? He squeezed her crystalline fingers. Completely. Then cover me. And whatever happens, don't let go. They stepped out together. The resonance responded immediately to Lyra's presence, its patterns shifting toward her. Varek snarled in frustration as some of his control slipped. You dare interfere? With a human at your side? The resonance doesn't care about species, Lyra said calmly. It responds to harmony, to balance. Her skin began to glow with complex patterns. Something you never understood. Nathan felt it then, a vibration running through their joined hands, a song without sound. The resonance patterns around Lyra grew stronger, more coherent. His tactical display went completely dark. Impossible. Varek's face contorted with rage. No human should be able to touch the resonance. You're right, Lyra smiled. But we're not touching it alone. We're touching it together. The chamber erupted with competing harmonies as Varek tried to wrestle control back. Nathan's every instinct screamed to raise his weapon, to fight, to protect. But he understood now, this wasn't a battle that could be won with guns. Instead, he focused on Lyra, on the connection between them. He thought about trust, about bridges between worlds, about how the impossible becomes possible when you stop fearing difference and start embracing it. The resonance responded. Its patterns aligned with Lyra's, creating a symphony of light and energy that made Varek's discordant attempts seem crude in comparison. The rogue advisor screamed in fury as his control shattered completely. What are you doing? He demanded as the energy began to wrap around him. Letting it choose, Lyra said softly. The resonance knows its true children. The chamber filled with blinding light. When it faded, Varek was gone, not destroyed, but transformed into pure crystalline structure, another facet in the chamber's endless lattice. Lyra swayed, exhausted. Nathan caught her, cradling her against his chest. I've got you. So you do. She looked up at him with tired silver eyes. Still think humans and Astrians are too different to coexist? I think, he said carefully, that the right differences can create something beautiful. He glanced at the now peaceful resonance patterns. When they're in harmony. She touched his face with crystalline fingers. Perhaps that's what the resonance was trying to teach us all along. Above them, the sounds of battle were fading. Earth forces and loyal Astrian guards had routed the last of Varek's conspirators. The palace was secure. The kingdom was safe. But in that moment, holding each other in the glow of ancient power, neither Nathan nor Lyra was thinking about politics or victory. They were thinking about harmony, about trust, and about how the greatest bridges are built by hearts brave enough to cross them first. 3 days after the failed coup, the palace of New Crystal Lys glowed with celebration lights. Nathan stood on a private balcony, watching the twin suns set while adjusting his formal uniform. The Earth delegation had doubled in size since the battle, with diplomats rushing to capitalize on the strengthened alliance. Contemplating your escape route? Lyra's teasing voice came from behind him. I'm told humans find our state functions overwhelming. Nathan turned and forgot how to breathe. She wore formal robes that seemed woven from starlight itself, her crystalline skin catching and amplifying every ray of the setting suns. Her silver eyes sparkled with amusement at his reaction. Just thinking about how much has changed in 3 days, he managed. Having second thoughts about the arrangement? She moved to stand beside him, close enough that he could feel the warmth radiating from her crystalline form. "Are you?" I asked first, Commander. He smiled at the formality. "The only thing I'm second-guessing is how I ever thought this mission would be simple." He turned to face her fully. "When I came here, I expected a diplomatic challenge, not what? Not you. Not someone who would change everything I thought I knew about possibility." Her skin rippled with patterns he now recognized as pleasure. "Careful, Commander. That almost sounds like a declaration." "Maybe it is." He reached for her hand, marveling at how natural it felt now to touch her crystalline skin. "The Alliance doesn't require marriage anymore. Earth is satisfied with the military cooperation agreement. You're free to choose." "And what if I've already chosen?" She intertwined their fingers, creating small harmonics that made the air hum softly. "What if I've learned that my people's greatest strength isn't our technology or even the resonance, but our ability to grow, to change, to find harmony in unexpected places?" Before Nathan could respond, King Theron's voice carried from the doorway. "The delegation is waiting." They turned to find him watching them with knowing eyes. He'd recovered well from his injuries, though he now walked with a crystalline staff of his own, one tuned to healing harmonics. "Father," Lyra acknowledged. "I was just explaining to Commander Drake how my views on humans have evolved." "So I see." The king's skin rippled with amusement patterns. "And does the commander share this evolution of perspective?" Nathan straightened. "Your Majesty, I came here to forge an alliance between our peoples. I never expected to find a connection that would transcend politics." He squeezed Lyra's hand gently. "Whatever happens next, that connection is real." The resonance seems to agree. Theron gestured to where the chamber far below the palace pulsed with gentle light. "It's been singing new harmonies since you two touched it together. Our scientists are fascinated." "And what does that mean for us?" Lyra asked quietly. "It means, my daughter, that perhaps the old ways of thinking need to change." He smiled warmly. "The universe is larger than we imagined, and smaller too. The spaces between stars are only as vast as we allow them to be." In the great hall, the combined delegations waited. Humans in their formal uniforms stood alongside Astrians in their crystalline regalia. The differences between them seemed less stark now, less insurmountable. As they prepared to enter, Lyra touched Nathan's chest, right over his heart. "You know this won't be easy. There will be opposition on both sides. Good thing we're both stubborn. And there's so much we don't know about each other's biology, culture. We'll learn together. The physical differences alone." He silenced her with a kiss. The contact sent harmonic ripples through the crystalline surfaces around them, creating a subtle light show that made several nearby guards discreetly look away. "I think," he said when they parted, "we just proved some differences are worth exploring." Her skin glowed with joy patterns. "Careful, Commander. I might start thinking you're actually romantic under all that military discipline. Only with impossible alien princesses who challenge everything I believe in." "Former impossible alien princesses," she corrected. "Now I'm just the impossible alien who loves you." The words hung between them, new and precious. Nathan touched her glowing cheek. "I love you too. Even if you did try to have me thrown out an airlock when we first met." "I did not. I merely suggested it as an option." Their laughter echoed through the corridor, a sound that was becoming familiar to the palace staff. As they entered the great hall together, the assembled dignitaries saw not a human and an Astrian, but simply two people who had found something remarkable in each other. The official announcement was almost anticlimactic. Yes, there would be an alliance between Earth and the Astrian Empire. Yes, there would be a marriage. But not because of political necessity or diplomatic maneuvering. Instead, It would be a celebration of what became possible when two people dared to reach across the stars and find harmony in their differences. Later that night, they stood again on the balcony, watching the moon's rise. The resonance hummed contentedly far below, singing its new songs of possibility. "Still think humans are primitive?" Nathan asked, holding her close. "Oh, absolutely." Lyra's eyes sparkled. "But it turns out some primitive qualities are quite appealing." "I'll take that as a compliment." "You should." She touched the medallion at his throat, a crystalline pendant that marked him as part of the royal family. "After all, I'm trusting you with not just my heart, but my people's greatest secrets. And I'm trusting you not to crystallize me if I snore." "No promises." As they laughed together under the stars, both knew that this was just the beginning. There would be challenges ahead, prejudices to overcome, differences to navigate. But they had already proven that the greatest power in the universe wasn't weapons or technology or even the mysterious resonance. It was the ability to look at someone completely different from yourself and see not an alien, not an enemy, but a possibility. A future. A harmony waiting to be discovered. The princess who swore she'd never marry a human had found her destiny in the stars. And the commander who came seeking an alliance had found something far more precious, a love that would bridge worlds.